to a T. I mean, very well. It wasn't until she started to make her positions clear and continuously play the victim from the palace.
Get ready, because this might just be the wildest royal twist we've heard in years. Whispers out of Montecito aren't just rumors anymore. They're exploding louder than Meghan's entire PR machine running on double shots of espresso. And trust me, this ain't about another cringy podcast nobody wanted or a flop business deal gathering dust. This is something way heavier. The word on the street? Meghan Markle's got a secret daughter. Not a baby, not some vague distant cousin. An actual grown woman, allegedly hidden away from the spotlight like a scandal wrapped in silk. People are saying Meghan kept this buried like it was some royal skeleton in the closet.
Oh my.
But now the lock's been blown wide open and the fallout is insane. Prince Harry? Reports say he's been left shattered, with insiders whispering he broke down the second he heard the claims. And honestly, with the way these two have been juggling lies, lawsuits, and Netflix scripts, you could feel a bomb like this was bound to detonate sooner or later. The spark that lit it all? A mysterious social media leak that dropped grainy old photos straight from Meghan's pre-suits days, back when low-rise jeans were clinging for dear life and eyeliner was being applied like war paint. The pics look rough, raw, and totally unfiltered, the kind of throwback energy that can't be polished away. And now, the internet is losing its mind, dissecting every shadow, every angle, every face in the background, asking one question: is this Meghan's hidden daughter stepping into the spotlight at last? At first, everybody rolled their eyes, thinking this was just another cheap tabloid stunt dragging Meghan's wild party girl past back into the headlines. Same old script, right? But then things took a sharp turn when eagle-eyed internet sleuths started zooming in on those grainy old pics and noticed something chilling. There she was, a young girl, always lingering in the background, never in focus but impossible to ignore. Same piercing eyes, same sly little grin, that unmistakable Markle smirk stamped right across her face. And once the internet caught a whiff of that resemblance, it was game over. The armchair detectives went full CSI mode, tearing through every digital corner Meghan probably thought she'd buried for good. They pulled out forgotten modeling agency rosters, backstage snapshots from her Suits days, and even crumbling MySpace archives Meghan must have prayed were deleted forever. And buried in the chaos, they uncovered breadcrumb after breadcrumb, cryptic shoutouts to a baby girl in old emails, little slips in conversations that didn't make sense until now. But the real smoking gun, a resurfaced 2007 interview clip where Meghan, trying to be all playful, casually said she wanted to be a mom someday before slyly adding, "I mean, I sort of already feel like one sometimes." Say what? Fans nearly fell out of their chairs hearing that again. Was Meghan dropping hints all along, or is this just the biggest Freudian slip in royal gossip history? Hold up. Did Meghan really just get caught out with whispers about a secret daughter while the tabloids went feral? The second the story hit, the front pages were foaming at the mouth. "Markle's secret daughter," screamed one headline, while another shouted, "Royal scandal explodes over hidden child." Within hours, hashtags like #Secret Sussex and #Markle daughter drama were climbing the charts, and the internet was eating it up like popcorn at a late-night movie.
I'm all about parents being proud of their kids and so on and so on. But the way that Meghan and Harry have gone about shielding their kids from us, talking about how they can't be bullied and leave them alone, yada, yada, yada. For her to go out and now start debuting them in little pockets for With Love Meghan Season 2.
And Harry? Oh, poor Harry. Insiders swear he vanished in the middle of the chaos, holed up in Montecito like a ghost. Word is, he locked himself away in the so-called meditation room. But let's be real, that sounds more like a luxury panic chamber stuffed with sage sticks, mood lamps, and overpriced floor pillows. Allegedly, he was in there, breaking down with his face buried in his hands, while Meghan's crisis team scrambled like firefighters trying to put out a wildfire with a garden hose. But here's the twist. The harder Meghan's camp tried to crush the story, the louder it roared back. Every denial, every attempt at spin just made the whispers grow teeth. And then came the nuke. One of Meghan's old friends from her acting grind, let's call her Cassie, stepped into the spotlight with a jaw-dropper of an interview. According to Cassie, Meghan once confessed about making choices when she was younger and how she locked her private life in a vault so nothing could tank her shot at Hollywood. That one little slip cracked open the door to something way bigger. Suddenly, fans weren't asking if there was a secret, they were asking how much Meghan's been hiding this whole time. Cassie didn't hold back. She swore Meghan lived in fear that the press would ever dig this up. And honestly, once Meghan locked down Harry, the stakes skyrocketed. That fresh-faced feminist princess act she's been selling? Yeah, it doesn't exactly pair well with whispers of a secret daughter locked out of the fairy tale. Imagine the meltdown if the story blew before the wedding. Meghan knew it would nuke her carefully polished image, and poor Harry, man, this is brutal. He walked away from the royal family, swearing it was all to protect his family. Now he's stuck in California, realizing he might not even know the full story about the woman he gave up his crown for. And here's where it gets even crazier. The alleged daughter herself may have already tried to step into the light. An anonymous Instagram account popped up months ago, branding itself as the Forgotten Sussex. At first, people shrugged it off as a thirsty troll fishing for clout. But the captions? They were eerie. Lines like, "She said I'd understand one day," and "Bloodlines aren't always chosen." Creepy, right? Nobody cared much, until the account dropped a childhood photo. And boom, the internet lost it. The resemblance was chilling. Same almond-shaped eyes, same faint dimple etched into the left cheek, same smile lines that could have been photocopied from Meghan herself. Side by side, it was like looking at Meghan's clone in miniature form, and the online world exploded with theories, edits, and side-by-side breakdowns. Meanwhile, across the pond, the palace was allegedly sipping champagne, watching the drama unfold with smug grins. To them, this wasn't just chaos, it was karmic poetry. Meghan and Harry's truth-telling crusade had finally backfired in the most savage way possible. For years, Harry and Meghan have hurled accusations, lawsuits, and glossy Netflix tell-alls at the monarchy like grenades tossed over palace gates. But now, the irony is brutal. Their carefully curated Sussex brand isn't collapsing from a lawsuit or an interview. It's crumbling under the weight of one explosive rumor. And you can almost imagine Prince William, tucked away in his Kensington study, smirking into his teacup. Because if there's one thing the royal family savors more than control, it's watching karma roll up and handle their dirty work for them. Meanwhile, Meghan's reaction. Oh, it was textbook Meghan. Polished, mechanical, and colder than a wax museum. A source close to Meghan fed some carefully scripted denial through a glossy lifestyle magazine. No emotion, no specifics, no raw honesty, just the same robotic PR spin that makes her sound less like a woman under fire and more like a scented candle on autopilot. And the worst part? Nobody's buying it anymore. Even her ride or die fans are side-eyeing the whole circus. Comment sections are stacked with brutal questions like, "If she's not real, why not just prove it?" And "Silence screams louder than denials." That shift is deadly for Meghan's brand, because once even your loyalists start doubting, the whole empire starts to wobble. And here's where it really blows up. Inside, sources whisper Harry is fuming behind those Montecito walls, furious that Meghan never gave him a heads up about any of this. The man left his family, his country, and his crown for her, and now he's allegedly realizing he might have walked straight into a nightmare he never signed up for.
For Meghan, you can't build an empire when you're burning through your architects. No amount of branded coffee or curated glossy Instagram posts can make the instability behind the scenes
Insiders claim Harry's been storming around that Montecito mansion like a caged tiger, demanding answers, demanding honesty, demanding, well, the truth. Because here's the thing, as much as Harry plays the role of doting, supportive husband, deep down he's still a Windsor. And if royals value anything above wealth, titles, or headlines, it's bloodlines. Even the slightest whiff of an undisclosed child is enough to set their entire world on fire. And that's exactly why this rumor is so deadly. The Sussex brand has always been painted as the ultimate Instagram fairy tale. Harry as the doting dad, Meghan as the empowered mom, they're two picture-perfect kids frolicking in the California sunshine, all wrapped up in that Montecito palace of perfection. But if a grown daughter suddenly appears out of nowhere, that illusion cracks into a million pieces overnight. No wonder Harry's allegedly been in tears. This doesn't just put his marriage at risk, it strikes at the core of who he is. The man walked away from the crown, his country, and even his own brother to protect this family. And now whispers suggest Meghan may not have even been upfront about who her real family includes. The irony isn't just sharp, it's savage. And just when you think it can't get worse, the legal vultures have started circling. According to experts, if this alleged daughter is real and ever decides to come forward, she could have legal rights, inheritance claims, and a story powerful enough to burn the Sussex brand to the ground. This isn't just gossip, it's a potential courtroom nightmare waiting to explode. Questions are already flying: inheritance rights, financial claims, even whispers about royal titles that could blow up the monarchy's rulebook overnight. And let's be real, The last thing Harry needs is another avalanche of lawsuits, screaming headlines, and late-night hosts turning his private disaster into comedy gold. You can almost picture him zoning out on yet another therapy Zoom call, staring blankly while the world laughs at his misery. Meanwhile, Meghan? Sources say she's spiraling. Full-blown meltdown mode. Staff allegedly getting snapped at, public appearances canceled at the last minute, frantic calls to her PR squad going out every hour like SOS flares. Because once the secret daughter rumor caught fire, it didn't just spread, it roared through social media like gasoline on open flames. And no amount of yoga mantras, soft-focus family portraits, or carefully staged Montecito strolls can shove this genie back into its bottle. And that's the cruel twist, isn't it? Meghan and Harry built their entire empire on the idea of controlling their story. Every docu-series, every sit-down interview, every carefully timed leak. But now, that control has slipped right through their fingers, and they can't claw it back. The narrative isn't theirs anymore, and the internet knows it. But here's where it goes from messy to bone-chilling. Just when everyone thought the chaos couldn't get wilder, the alleged secret daughter didn't stay silent. She spoke, and the way she did it left everyone rattled. Late one night, that mysterious Instagram account, the one claiming to be the forgotten Sussex, uploaded a video. Calm, steady, haunting. The kind of delivery that sends chills down your spine because it felt less like gossip and more like a declaration. No flashy cuts, no dramatic soundtrack. Just a young woman sitting in front of a plain white wall, staring straight into the lens like she'd been carrying this weight forever. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. And she didn't even mention Meghan by name. She didn't need to. All she said was, "You always told me to stay hidden because my existence would ruin your crown." And then came the moment that froze everyone. The smile, that sly, lopsided smirk, the exact same one Meghan flashes at every red carpet, every staged paparazzi shot. The resemblance was undeniable, and the internet lost its collective breath. The clip barely scraped 30 seconds, but in less than an hour it detonated across the web like a digital bomb. Millions of views poured in before sunrise, and by morning it had gone nuclear. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, even the evening news couldn't ignore it. Suddenly, this wasn't just rumor mill chatter anymore. It was treated like evidence. Social media detectives got busy, flooding timelines with side-by-side breakdowns, nose shape matches, eye spacing overlays, dimple comparisons mapped out like forensic files. It looked less like gossip and more like an online crime lab piecing together a scandal in real time. The hashtag Meghan's secret daughter didn't just trend, it shot straight to #1 worldwide. And in a shocking twist, even US networks that normally tiptoe around Harry and Meghan jumped on the story. The tide had shifted. People weren't just speculating anymore. They were convinced. One American news anchor didn't mince words. If this turns out to be true, it's the biggest royal scandal since Edward VIII ran off with Wallis Simpson. Boom. That single line set the tone, and the palace didn't have to lift a finger. They stayed in total silence, and why wouldn't they? The Sussex brand was already bleeding out, but back in Montecito, the meltdown was real. Insiders claim Harry completely unraveled. One source described him as having a full emotional collapse, storming out of the mansion barefoot in the middle of the night. He supposedly jumped into his car and drove aimlessly down the California coast, headlights cutting through the dark, before parking at some lonely beach lot, where locals spotted him sobbing into his hands like a tragic character out of a Nicholas Sparks movie. By morning, the drama only deepened. Neighbors whispered that Harry was wandering their gated community with his hoodie pulled low, face red and puffy, refusing to speak to a soul. And honestly, can you blame him? The brutal truth is this. Harry spent years branding himself as the ultimate protective dad, the guy who gave up the crown to shield his family from harm. And now the whispers suggest he didn't even know his wife might have another child tucked away? That's not just damaging, it's humiliating on a level few people could survive. This isn't the kind of wound a therapy Zoom session or a pricey wellness retreat can patch up. This is an ego-shattering crack in Harry's very identity, and it's playing out under the world's microscope. Meanwhile, Meghan was said to be in full-blown damage control overdrive, and it was ugly. PR flacks were allegedly summoned to the mansion at 3 a.m., rushing in like firefighters on no sleep. Phones lit up as Meghan's camp blasted calls to every tabloid editor, every talk show producer, even influencers who'd once dropped a single kind word about her. She wanted that video buried. She wanted the whispers erased. She wanted the internet to pretend none of this ever existed. But here's the part Meghan never seems to understand. When you try too hard to bury a scandal, you just make it louder. Every frantic phone call, every off-the-record plea, every robotic denial only fueled the suspicion. Her polished statements read like the script of a Hallmark movie, and the internet wasn't buying a second of it. If anything, people got more convinced she was hiding something. And then came the real bombshell. the twist that made jaws drop worldwide. A journalist, one of the few Meghan still trusted, tried to ride in and defend her. But instead of protecting her, they slipped. Bad. In their desperate rush to discredit the video, they claimed, "The girl has no legal claim to the Sussex name." Wait, legal claim? Nobody had even brought up legal rights until that very moment. The comment landed like dynamite. It was like watching someone try to put out a fire while accidentally spraying it with gasoline. The internet pounced instantly. Why bring up legal claims unless there was something there? Within minutes, threads were exploding, hashtags were reigniting, and the narrative shifted again. If there's nothing real to this story, why is Meghan's camp already lawyering up in public? Why not just issue a flat denial and walk away? That's the question tearing up every comment section. Instead, Meghan's team tripped over their own spin, and that single misstep cracked her PR wall wide open. It was the slip that sent the conspiracy machine into turbo mode, with the internet treating every detail like a breadcrumb trail. And the palace? Oh, they were eating this up. One royal insider reportedly told a journalist, off the record, "The House of Windsor never needed to lift a finger. All we had to do was wait cold?" Absolutely. Wrong. Not at all. Because whether this rumor holds weight or not, the Sussex fairy tale has already been torched. Their golden image of the perfect modern family shattered like cheap glass under a spotlight. Now every photo of Meghan cradling Archie or Harry beaming at Lilibet carries a shadow. Every glossy magazine spread celebrating their storybook love reads less like romance and more like satire. The brand they spent years selling has cracked, and the world is binge-watching the collapse in real time. And here's the kicker. Behind palace walls and Montecito gates alike, whispers say the trust between Harry and Meghan has been obliterated. Harry's reportedly furious, demanding receipts, private proof, private documents, private anything that could confirm the alleged daughter isn't real. Because if Meghan can't put this rumor to bed, then the question won't be about brand control anymore. It'll be about whether their entire marriage was built on secrets. Meghan's flat-out refusal to even entertain Harry's demand for answers has only thrown gasoline on the fire. Insiders whisper he's accusing her of playing the eternal victim instead of just coming clean. Their fights are said to be so explosive that staff have been told to clear out of the mansion whenever the shouting starts. Imagine that. The man who gave up a throne, titles, and an entire royal destiny to protect Meghan is now questioning if she's been hiding a royal-sized secret from him all along. Talk about brutal, poetic karma. But just when it looked like the drama had reached its peak, the internet was hit with a fresh bombshell, a birth certificate. Dropped anonymously, this document was heavily redacted but claimed to show a California birth record, dated years before Meghan even met Harry, listing a baby girl born to none other than Rachel Markle. And yes, for anyone who forgot, Meghan's real name is Rachel. Was it authentic? A clever fake? No one could say for certain, but the timing was impeccable, almost too perfect. The second it surfaced online, the internet practically combusted. Timelines were being mapped out, Reddit threads turned into detective boards, and Meghan's entire pre-royal past was dissected like a frog in a high school biology lab. Every blurry photo, every forgotten interview, every old friend suddenly looked like a potential piece of the puzzle. What was once a rumor had now snowballed into a full-blown investigation, one that Meghan and Harry no longer had the power to stop. Even Hollywood is starting to slam the brakes. The same brands that once tripped over themselves to lock in Meghan Markle deals are suddenly going ghost. Emails unanswered, calls unreturned. Her shiny power couple aura with Harry has dimmed into something darker, heavier, scandalous. And this isn't the kind of scandal that Netflix can spin into a heartwarming redemption arc. This is the kind of stain that lingers. And here's the bitter twist. They left the royal family swearing they wanted privacy. Yet now their entire survival depends on publicity, even when that publicity is shredding them alive. The spotlight they once claimed to hate has become the only thing keeping them relevant, and it's burning hotter than ever. As for Harry, whispers say reality has started crashing down hard. He's been quietly reaching back out to the very friends he cut off when Meghan swept into his world, the same friends he once accused of not understanding. The same friends who, awkwardly enough, warned him Meghan might not be everything she seemed. Talk about a full-circle gut punch. Insiders claim Harry's been asking if they'll talk, if they'll forgive, if they'll stand by him now that the walls of Montecito feel like a prison of his own making. Because here's the chilling truth. If Meghan really did hide something this massive, if she really kept a secret daughter locked away from him, then Harry didn't just give up a crown. He gave up his entire life for a woman who never told him the whole truth. That's not just heartbreak, it's betrayal at the deepest level. And here's the part that has everyone on edge. The alleged daughter hasn't posted a single thing since that haunting first video. Not one photo, not one word. Total silence, which makes it even creepier, because it points to only two possibilities. Either she was silenced behind the scenes, or she's biding her time, waiting for the perfect moment to return with the kind of evidence that could obliterate the Sussex empire in one savage blow. The world is holding its breath, refreshing feeds, dissecting every rumor, bracing for what might come next. Because if that moment arrives, it won't just shatter Meghan's carefully constructed brand, it could finish Harry and Meghan as a couple. Full stop. The fairy tale would be over, replaced with one of the most shocking scandals the royal world has ever seen. So what do you think? Was that eerie video the beginning of the end, or just the calm before the real storm? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking updates. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. See you in the next one.